Hey YouTube, here's something you might find surprising. Many guitarists I work with don't sound bad because they know too little. They sound bad because they're trying to use everything they know all at once. 6 strings, 5 pentatonic boxes, a dozen different scale positions. Your brain just locks up. Your fingers, they fall back on the same 3 licks that you've been playing for years, and nothing feels musical. It feels like hard work. So what if I told you the fix isn't learning more? Instead, try this. Limit yourself to soloing on just 3 strings. It sounds like it would make things harder, but the truth is it makes your playing sound more musical almost immediately. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. But first, let me prove that it works. So let's talk about why limiting yourself to just 3 strings is such a powerful practice move, because it's not obvious at first. When you're thinking about the entire fretboard, your brain is overloaded with decisions. And all that mental chatter, it kills your flow. You fall back on familiar patterns, you can start to second guess yourself. Players who sound really musical aren't necessarily the ones that know the most shapes. They're the ones that have done a really deep dive on less information and they've truly mastered those sounds. That's what we're building today. I want to show you not only the musical tools that are available to you on just 3 strings, but also how to connect them into phrases. Today we're going to focus on the G, B, and E strings, but you should practice this on every set of 3 strings. And on those 3 strings, I want you to get in the habit of identifying all the musical concepts that are available to you in blocks of just a few frets on the neck. Now, the backing track we're playing over today has the chords A minor, F, and C. And I'm going to walk you up the neck and go position by position, showing you everything that you need to play over the progression of that backing track, and how it just sits in a really tight, manageable space. In a couple of the spots, these concepts are literally stacked on top of one another. Let's go up to the 5th position and find some triad shapes. Triads are made up of chord tones, the root, the 3rd, and the 5th interval of the root of each chord. Here at the 5th position, we have an A minor shape made up of C, E, and A. That's the root, the minor 3rd, and the 5th. And we can also play another C here at the 8th fret. And if we change just one note and play the F at the 6th fret of the B string, we now have an F major triad. So we've got F as the root, A is the major 3rd, C is the 5th. And lastly, we need to drop down to the 3rd position to play this C major shape with the notes C, E, and G. And we can jump up here to the 8th fret and grab another C. Playing through these triad shapes in time, we can already hear the chord changes. But hey, we're guitar players, and guitar players always want more, right? So let's add another note, the 7th interval. Adding the 7th to each triad turns them into 7th arpeggios. So we would have A minor 7, F major 7, and C major 7. On A minor 7, the extra note of the 7th interval is G. On F major 7, the 7th interval is E. And on C major 7, the 7th is B. One note added to each shape, and suddenly our lines have a smooth, open, almost jazzy quality, and a lot more color than the straight triads alone. And here's the beautiful thing. These shapes live in the same exact neck positions as our triads. We're not jumping to a new box, we're just extending what's already there by one note. It's all one continuous vocabulary on the same 3 strings. Now let's bring the pentatonic scale into the picture, and here's where a lot of players have a big aha moment. You already know your 5 positions of A minor pentatonic, right? Well, we can isolate the notes of the pentatonic scale on the G, B, and E strings too. And when we lay them next to the triads and 7th arpeggio shapes we've just been working through, the overlap is everywhere. At the 5th position, we've got A minor pattern 1. Or we could think of it as C major pattern 5, if that's how our brain works. We've also got F major pattern 3. Drop down to the 3rd position, and we've got A minor pattern 5 and pattern 2 of F major. So instead of thinking about pentatonic boxes as separate shapes that we run up and down, start seeing them as a wider net that contains the triad notes and sits right on top of the 7th arpeggios. The triads and arpeggios, they tell us which notes to target. And the pentatonic licks, well, they help us fill in the space between them. So once we've got triads, 7th arpeggios, and pentatonic scales talking to one another on these 3 strings, the natural next step is bringing in the full 7-note C major scale. So C major has the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And we've played all those notes already anyway. A minor pentatonic had the notes C, D, E, G, and A. And we played the F note in our F major triad, and we played the B note in C major 7. Thinking of all those notes as the 7-note major scale, well, it just kind of ties it all together. Now, we've played triads in 2 positions, the 3rd and the 5th. And look how I can combine a pair of 1-octave patterns to overlap both positions. We're first going to play the C major scale from A at the 2nd fret of the G string up to B at fret 7 of the E string. And then we're going to make a slight position shift, and we're going to play from C at the 8th fret of the E string to C at fret 5 of the G string. So these major scale shapes fit right inside the same neck positions you've already been working through. So you're not learning new territory, you're adding a fuller set of notes to the same patch of fretboard that we're already starting to own. It's the same position on the neck with more notes and more potential for expression. And when you start moving between triads, 7th arpeggios, and scale fragments all in those same positions, that's where your playing really starts to open up. Let me show you a great way to practice this stuff where you're not only going to be able to ingrain the shapes, but you're going to start to relate to them in a way that connects to a chord progression. Ultimately, that's what soloing is all about, right? The backing track that I was playing over earlier is in 3/4 time, and we've got 3 beats of A minor, 3 beats of F, and then 6 beats of C major. What I want you to do is follow the chord progression and cycle through the various techniques we're talking about. And what I mean by that is this. Over the backing track, the first time through the chords, we can play triad shapes. The next time through, we'd play 7th arpeggios. The next time through, play A minor, F major, and then C major pentatonic. And then lastly, we play through a cycle of the changes using the major scale pattern. Let me demonstrate over the backing track. This will give it a little more context, and I'll put up a diagram so it'll show you which technique I'm using at what time. Let's give it a try. And here's the bigger picture. Once you've ingrained all this stuff in one position, you can take the exact same approach and apply it wherever you find these triad shapes. Do that, and pretty soon you're going to have the entire neck covered. And not as a maze of disconnected patterns, but as a clear, connected system that you actually understand. Let's jump up to the 8th position and identify our triad shapes. Here's A minor. Here's F major. And here's C major. Neat and tidy. A minor 7, it's an easy transition. We've got a G note right here at the 8th fret of the B string. F major 7, we've got E at the 9th fret of the G string and fret 12 of the E string. C major 7, well, we've got a B at fret 7 of the high E string. Perfect. Moving on to the pentatonic scale, we've got patterns 2 and 3 of A minor, or patterns 1 and 2 of C major. We've got patterns 4 and 5 of F major right on top of that. How about the C major scale? Well, we can play from the D at fret 7 of the G string up to the E at fret 12 of the high E. Then we can shift to the F at fret 13, and we're going to descend to the E at the 9th fret of the G string. Once again, everything overlaps, everything connects. And we can do this again up at the 12th position, where once again we're going to find our triads sitting right on top of one another. At the 12th position, we've got A minor, F, here's C. So that's our triads. How about 7th arpeggios? We've got A minor 7, F major 7, and C major 7. Pentatonic scales, well, we've got A minor pattern 4 and 5, or C major patterns 3 and 4. We've got F major pattern 1 and 2. As for the C major scale, we can play from F at the 10th fret of the G string up to G on the E string. We're going to shift to A on the E string and play to C on the B string. Shift up to B on the E string, and we're going to play down to C on the G string. There's just loads of harmonic content, all the notes you're ever going to need, and it's all packaged neatly together in these little blocks. So the point of all this, practicing with limitations like playing on only 3 strings, it makes it easier to really learn the fretboard because you're dealing with less information. Breaking things down even further and forcing yourself to stay in one spot on the neck and going through the tools that are available like triads or pentatonic scales in that area, it allows you to get really familiar with them and really ingrain them. Then practicing by cycling through the techniques in real time over a backing track, well, that's like a final exam. When you can do that, it's a sign you really know and understand the techniques and you're ready to use them soloing and improvising. I hope this video gave you some good ideas, some inspiration. If it did, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. I'm going to play us out by doing some soloing on 3 strings over the track. I'll see you in the next lesson.